Hello and welcome back to this second video on this channel. My name's Mercedes and today I wanted to share with you how we can change our lives in 28 days. In my last video, I mentioned how I am getting back into personal growth and self-development after having my baby. And in that, one of my points was about my 28-day guide. I've created a book, so now a physical book, which I created a couple of years ago. I did it as an online guide and now it has been printed. It's available on Amazon. I also designed it. The book is called 28 Days to Bloom because it is created to change your life in 28 days, following all the practices, the daily practices that I have created and curated. It's called 28 Days to Bloom also because in lockdown I created an Instagram page all to do with mental health, well-being, personal development, and I called it the Bloom Mindset. Obviously it's to do with blooming into the person that you want to become. I called it a recipe book, the recipe book for self-love and personal growth, because it was actually my dad's idea. I was telling him about the book and everything that's in it, and he said, so it's like a recipe book. And I was like, yes, perfect. Because even though I've created it as a 28-day guide, I've also made sure that a lot of the days you can just do on their own. That exercises that will help just make you feel better, or journal prompts or something you can do through the day. And you know, every page, every day is titled, and if that's something you're looking to do, each exercise is great with helping your mindset, making you feel better. So you don't even need to do the 28 days, but I would recommend doing the 28 days if you really want a big change. You can also go back, once you've done the 28 days, there's exercises in here that I go back to all the time. If I'm not doing the whole book, I might just pick up one, do that as an exercise for the day. So that's the cover of the book, a lovely green. Also, as you can see, there is an iris on there to do with the flower blooming. Also, our daughter's name is Iris, so obviously I had to use that on the front cover. So I wanted to talk about the book today, but I also thought it'd be quite cool to do the day one together, just so you can get a bit of an idea of what it's about without me just saying, this is my book and it's going to change your life in 28 days. Day one is actually the longest day. It's probably the most you have to put into an exercise, takes the longest as well, but still really good exercise. It needs to be that long so that we can, you know, start off really well. We know where we're starting and we can measure how far we've got through the rest of the journal. So to explain a bit more about the journal, I can read you the first page, which says 28 Days to Bloom, the recipe book for self-love and personal growth. A 28-day journal full of practices I have created and curated from my own personal self-development journey to guide you on your path of self-awareness, self-care, self-acceptance and self-worth. 28 Days to Bloom is full of recipes that encourage you to commit to yourself, help inspire and empower you so that you see who you really are, what you're really capable of and what is possible for you. Even though I have created this as a 28-day journal, I wanted to make sure that it's flexible so you can use it however you wish. So you can use each of the recipes whenever you like to go back to. You can follow along day by day or use any of these practices at any time. All I ask of you is to keep an open mind and have fun with it. I wanted to create something that was fun, that you enjoy doing. This is the whole purpose of everything I do on here. I don't want to make anything feel like it's like really hard work. I'm sure there's some things in the book that may or may not make you feel a bit uncomfortable sometimes. Being self-aware, it can cause us to be a bit uncomfortable. That's where healing comes in and the real development comes in. But also I have made it really kind of enjoyable and lighthearted, I guess. Maybe one day I'll do a guide that digs a bit deeper into things, but this is as fun as I could have done it. I've also written a disclaimer because I don't label it so much as mental health, even though this is how I started. I've had really bad anxiety, panic disorder, and have struggled with my mental health. This is how I got into self-development and all of this, because it's been such a help for me. I would always advise anyone that is struggling with their mental health to go to a professional and seek the help they need. This is just a tool to, help you feel better, and it has helped me with my mental health. But also, like I said, advise always to get the help that you need, and just use this as a tool of like making you feel a bit better. I share everything from my own experience. Again, it's all worked for me. I wouldn't share anything that hasn't worked for me in the past. And I've said, whilst these practices have helped and continue to help me on my self-development journey, I also encourage anyone who is struggling with their mental health issues to seek professional support too. I do not claim to be a qualified therapist. I learn through experience and the research I do. Research. So, day one, day one, is about how you feel now versus how you want to feel. In this journal, I want to get, and you to get, as clear as you can on what is going on in your life right now. And the aim of this is, one thing is so that by the end of the journal, you can look back and actually see how far you've come and see what's happened and the changes that have happened in your life since you started. And also, I think when you start journaling about things that are going on in your life or how you feel, more will come up. Usually, if I'm writing about one thing, other things come up too. I've seen this with a lot of different exercises. I'm studying EFT at the moment to become an EFT practitioner, and it comes up in that as well. I'm sure other therapies that happens. I've been to other therapies where that happens, where you start working on one thing and other things come up, or you find the root of something. So I always think the best way to start is writing down exactly where you are, exactly how you feel, and what is going on in your life, and the things that you would like to change. So that's what I've said in the first paragraph. I find that the best step to take first when wanting to make a change is to acknowledge where I am right now, so that I can work out what I don't want and what I do. Use these journal prompts as a guide and write down everything that comes up for you. So these questions are a guide. If you're new to journaling and you really don't know what to write, I've just used a couple of prompts, or quite a few prompts, to help you. So the prompts are: how do I feel about myself right now? How do I feel about my life right now? How do I feel in general? What parts of my life would I or could I feel better about, and why? How would I describe myself and my life at the moment? What words would I use? Words and phrases are very important in this, so don't overthink it. Just write whatever comes up, and if you think it, just write it all out. No one needs to see this. It's completely private. So this is you and your thoughts. Just get it all down. Again, I've written, try to be as detailed as possible so that we can bring it all up to the surface and release it. Use these questions to write out all of your thoughts and feelings about yourself right now. You can journal anything and everything that comes up. Try not to hold back. Get it all out now. And then you've obviously got space to write this. Lots of space to write it all out. Again, if you are writing lots, which sometimes we do, I've got a note area at the back, so you can go back there and carry on writing. So once we've got it all out, what's going on in your life, good and bad things, it doesn't have to be all negative. It's good to put the positive things in there that we're grateful for and that are going really well in our lives, but just write it all down. Anything you want, write it down. Once that's all done, we're on to part 2. Part 2 is asking yourself, how do I want to feel? What do I want my life to look and feel like? And I want you to sit somewhere and spend a bit of time on this to really start thinking about what positive changes you want to bring into your life, how you want to feel about yourself, how you want to feel about your life, the emotions you want to feel. How does your life look? How would your perfect life look? How would it look to have resolved those things that you don't want to feel, the things that you want to change in your life? How would that look once you've actually got there? So any of the negative things that you've put in the how you feel right now, How would those things look if it was the opposite? What is it that you actually want instead of those things? You know, it might take a little while to really sit and think about it, but it's a good thing to start focusing on what we actually do want. I feel like we get into a pattern and a routine of thinking about the things that are going wrong, that sometimes we don't actually think about the things we want to go right. I like that. We get stuck in thinking the negative. We want to jump and think about the positive. Once this is done, the rest of the journal is going to be a bridge to get from where we are to where we want to be. So get really clear on both things. There's also a part 3 to this one. Day 1 is a long day, so give yourself some time to do this one. Again, it's a really good exercise to do though, and it doesn't feel like really hard work. Part 3, now that you've had your mind dump, it's time to go through everything you have written and underline all of the negative words and phrases you have used that you don't want to feel anymore. Then underline all of the positive words and phrases that you do want to feel more of. Tip, if you're a visual person, sometimes it's good to use different colours for positive and negative. Using the words you have underlined, fill in these lists. So this is the list. So we've got bad and negative, good and positive. This won't just be words, this is also going to be phrases. So what you'll do is, say you've written out, you'll go back to part 1 and you'll read through what you've written of how you feel at the moment. Any negative and positive in day 1, in part 1, start underlining. Like I said, use a different colour if you want to for good and bad so that you don't get confused and it's easy to read when you start putting them in the columns. So any words, any phrases that are bad or negative, maybe start with them first if you want to, and then start listing them in these columns. Also go through part 2 as well, and then go back to part 1 and part 2 and underline all the good and positive things that you want to feel and start putting them in good, positive. I usually notice that I use words more than once, and I want you to use those words more than once. If you've used like the word happy or something, or happy about this, write happy about this, because I want you to see how many times that you have written these things. I haven't actually put that in the journal though, but it is good, I think, personally, to see how many times you've written a certain word or phrase. So once you've done all that, read back through these words, and if you need to, you can journal anything else that might come up, thoughts, feelings, beliefs about these words, and you could note down how many times you've said some of the words or written them down. Get it all out. Add any more negative and positive words into the table above. So you've got some space again to write some more journaling if you need to. So the last thing of this exercise is finish this exercise by reading the following. I choose to forgive myself for believing these things. I now let go of these words and the meanings to them. I release the old so that the new can come through. Tip, I find saying it out loud gives it more power. I think speaking things out loud or writing things down always give it way more power than just having it in our heads. Now go back to your negative list and cross each word out and read the positive words again. Can I just go back, because I think that is such a powerful phrase. I release the old so that the new can come through. That is such a powerful affirmation or phrase to say, to really get into a new mindset and, you know, a new beginning. So now we're going back to our negative list. So this list that would be filled out, and you're going to cross each word out. You can even say, as you cross them out, I release the old so that the new can come through. I release the old so that the new can come through. And just keep crossing them out. They don't mean anything to you anymore. And then once you've crossed them all out, no longer belong to you, you're going to go through the positive words again and just read them. Read them out loud if you want to. Just start getting used to saying them. So that exercise is day 1. I'm going to give you a little bit of an insight into day 2. The reason we're getting clear on the words and phrases that you're using is because we're going to create some affirmations around these words. So that's why it's so important that we're really getting clear on what words we're using that we don't want anymore and what we do. Sorry, that was a knock on the door. Anyway, we are at the end of the video. And again, my baby is waking up from her nap. I feel like I should be calling this series like nap time chat or something. But yes, if you are interested in looking more into my guide, it is available on Amazon. It's called The 28 Days to Bloom, the recipe book for self-love and personal growth. I probably will do another video on this and maybe do another exercise. I also thought maybe I'd read the About Me page, but we're running out of time today because she has woken up. I hope you enjoyed doing that with me anyway, and if you did go along with the exercise today, let me know how you got on and how you feel. And until next time, have a great day. Bye.